Here's a fun question to kick things off. What actually makes something alive? Is it movement, like a dog wagging its tail or a cow chewing cud? Well, not really, because plants don't move much, yet they're definitely alive. So the secret isn't in what we see, but in what we don't. The tiny processes happening inside living beings. Life processes are like the behind-the-scenes heroes of life. They are the essential activities performed by living organisms to maintain life. These include nutrition, respiration, transportation, and excretion. If these stop, life stops. Let's start with nutrition, which is how living beings get their food and convert it into energy. We eat food to stay active, grow, and repair our body. You eat samosas and Maggi to get energy, but not all organisms eat the same way. Based on how they get food, nutrition is of two main types. Autotrophs make their own food while heterotrophs depend on others. Plants are amazing. They make their own food using sunlight, water, and carbon dioxide through a process called photosynthesis. It happens mainly in the leaves where chlorophyll, the green pigment, absorbs sunlight. The roots absorb water and the stomata take in carbon dioxide. Photosynthesis happens in 3 steps. First, chlorophyll captures sunlight. Second, that energy splits water molecules into hydrogen and oxygen. And third, carbon dioxide gets converted into glucose, a type of sugar. This process also releases oxygen. That's what we breathe. How do plants exchange gases? It occurs through the tiny pores called stomata. The opening and closing of the pore is a function of the guard cells. The pores is open when the guard cells are swollen and it closes when the guard cells shrunken. What happens when we stand in the sunlight with our mouths open? Nothing. Animals, including us, can't make their own food, so we depend on others. This is called heterotrophic nutrition. Some organisms eat and digest food inside their body, like us. Some, like fungi, digest food outside and absorb it. And then there are parasites like lice and tapeworms that take nutrition from other living beings. Let's have a look at amoeba's eating process. Meet Pseudopodia, amoeba's hands. They engulf food and form a food vacuole. Inside the vacuole, enzymes break food into tiny nutrients. Energy diffuses into the cytoplasm. The remaining undigested material is moved to the surface of the cell and thrown out. Let's take a food tour through your body. It all starts in the mouth where chewing happens and saliva breaks down starch. Then food travels down the esophagus using wave-like motions called peristalsis. In the stomach, strong acid creates the right condition for pepsin to break proteins. Mucus protects your stomach from getting burned by acid. Cool, right? Next stop, the small intestine. Here, bile from the liver breaks down fats, and enzymes from the pancreas digest proteins and carbs. The inner lining has tiny finger-like projections called villi that absorb all the nutrients. Finally, the large intestine absorbs water and passes out the waste through the anus. Now let's talk about how our body actually gets energy from food. This is called respiration. Respiration is the process of breaking down food molecules to release energy. First, food is broken down into pyruvate in the cytoplasm. If oxygen is present, it's called aerobic respiration. It happens in mitochondria and gives a lot of energy. But when oxygen is absent, like in yeast, it's anaerobic respiration, and it gives less energy and produces alcohol. In our muscles, when we do heavy exercise and oxygen is low, pyruvate changes into lactic acid that causes cramps. Think of ATP, adenosine triphosphate, as your battery. It stores energy and releases it when needed. One ATP molecule releases about 30.5 kilojoules of energy, just enough to power many tiny activities in your cells. Now let's trace how air enters our body. It goes in through the nose, is filtered by hairs and mucus, then travels down the windpipe, also called trachea, and reaches the lungs. Inside the lungs are tiny balloon-like structures called alveoli. They have a huge surface area where oxygen goes into the blood and carbon dioxide comes out. Respiration is not just breathing. Breathing is the act of taking in oxygen and releasing carbon dioxide, while respiration is converting oxygen plus food into actual power. Plants exchange gases through stomata by diffusion. At night, when there is no photosynthesis, carbon dioxide is eliminated. During the day, carbon dioxide generated during respiration is used for photosynthesis, hence only oxygen is released. The nutrients from digestion and oxygen required for respiration have to deliver throughout the body. This is done by the blood. Blood has many components. Plasma transports nutrients, carbon dioxide and wastes. Red blood cell contains hemoglobin, which carry oxygen. White blood cells fight germs, and platelets help in clotting. Next, we need a heart to push the blood. It has 4 chambers, right and left atria, and right and left ventricles to separate oxygenated and deoxygenated blood. Oxygenated blood from the lungs goes to the left atrium, then the left ventricle, which pumps it to the body. Deoxygenated blood from the body goes to the right atrium, then the right ventricle, which pumps it to the lungs for oxygenation. This double pumping is called double circulation. Animals like amphibians and many reptiles have 3-chambered hearts, while fish have only 2-chambered hearts. A network of tubes called blood vessels are present to reach all the tissues. Arteries carry blood away from the heart. Veins carry blood to the heart. And capillaries allow exchange of materials between blood and cells. Lymph collects fats from intestines and returns leaked fluids back to the bloodstream. You must have heard about someone around you having high or low blood pressure. But what is blood pressure? Blood pressure is the force exerted by blood against the walls of blood vessels. It is higher in arteries than in veins. Systolic pressure during heart contraction is about 120 mm Hg, and diastolic during relaxation is 80 mm Hg. We measure it using a sphygmomanometer. But if arterioles narrow, pressure rises. That's called hypertension, and it can cause artery rupture or internal bleeding. Plants have a different way of transportation. Xylem moves water and minerals from roots to leaves. This is driven by transpiration. Water evaporating from leaves pulls more upwards. At the root, cells actively take up minerals. This creates a difference in the concentration of minerals between the root and the soil. Therefore, water moves into the root, creating root pressure. Phloem moves food, like sugars, from leaves to the rest of the plant, using energy from ATP. This is called translocation. Time to take out the trash. We have reached the final process. Excretion removes waste like urea from the body. Inside each kidney are millions of tiny filters called nephrons. Each nephron has a cluster of thin-walled blood capillaries called glomerulus associated with a cup-shaped Bowman's capsule. Nephrons filter blood, removing wastes like urea and uric acid, while useful substances like glucose and water are reabsorbed, and urine is formed. Urine travels through ureters to the bladder and exits the body through the urethra. And then, when kidneys fail, waste builds up. That's where dialysis comes in. An artificial kidney filters blood using tubes and a special fluid. Wastes move out, clean blood goes back in. But unlike real kidneys, dialysis doesn't reabsorb. Plants are pretty smart with their waste too. They get rid of water by transpiration. Wastes can be stored in old leaves or inside vacuoles. Some trees store waste as resin and gum. Plants also excrete some waste substances into the soil around them. So now you know the secret to life. It's all in these 4 life processes. Thank you for watching and all the best for your exams. Don't forget to practice diagrams. Subscribe for more videos and follow the WhatsApp group in the link below for free mind map and multiple choice questions.